Police Minister Senzo Mchunu is engaging with farmers, izinduna and local residents in Hlobane near Vryheid, I beg your pardon, on rural safety and policing in northern KwaZulu-Natal. The visit comes after a spike in complaints around stock theft and the renewed public debate over claims of a white genocide. Nobuhle Modise tackling that story for us, and she joins me now live. Nobuhle, good to have you on. I believe the minister is about to address some of those farmers there today on this issue of rural safety. But what are you hearing on the ground about some of the complaints that they are putting forward to the minister?
Good afternoon, Thabo. So this engagement started earlier this morning. The minister arrived just after 10 a.m. and basically this part of the program was him engaging with local stakeholders, izinduna, community members, CPF forums, and just wanting to get an overview on the many issues that have been reported on here a number of times. And some of the issues that, were ventilated here, even from izinduna themselves, were around the issue of crime and how they find it difficult to be able to handle some of those cases that take place here. But also very notable was the issue of rape and gender-based violence in these areas where a lot of the community members here had an issue with how those matters are dealt with, how izinduna are the ones that, preside over such cases instead of those cases being dealt with at a law enforcement level as well as justice, but being dealt with under a tree. And in many of those instances, you'd find that the perpetrators are then ordered, to pay a certain amount to the family, slaughter some sort of livestock in order, to show forgiveness. And this is what is, creating a culture where they're perpetuating these incidents of rape. But also, we know that at 4 p.m., this particular engagement only just wrapped now, Thabo. It did start early this morning, as I indicated, and it's been very lengthy, where the minister essentially gave many of the attendees here, time to ventilate their issues and let them speak almost one by one. All the attendees that were here at some point were given that platform to speak. As you see, this particular engagement now wrapping around this time. He will be meeting with farmers at 4 p.m. where before he left, because he was in a rush to move to the next area, but when he did give us an opportunity as the media to engage him quickly on some of the issues and his response to some of the things that were, said here. When we asked about the issue of farmers and commercial farmers and what we saw play out, on the international platform around white genocide in the country, and you'd remember that, there was a video that was played, in the Oval Office where we saw crosses that were that particular image is something that happened in Normandy following the death of two farmers, and we saw it now being, placed on an international platform with the wrong information. He is here today to engage farmers about, the violence that takes place in the northern parts of KwaZulu-Natal as a whole, but to hear what some of their issues will be. And he also spoke interestingly about, the demands that every forum has made with regards to farm killing, saying when they came back from another visit from the United States of America, they were demanding that issues of farm murders should be dealt with by the Hawks, and him saying that that organization in particular is quite ignorant because issues that are at a grade 4 initially are dealt with by the Hawks. So he says with this engagement that's going to take place at 4 p.m., he's going to allow himself to listen to some of the issues that farmers have, and not just white farmers, black farmers, commercial farmers, small-scale farmers, to find out what the issues are particularly here. You'd also know, if you go back into the history of this particular area, some of the land here was given back to its original owners through the land restitution program. And so there are some sort of racial tensions that have been bubbling under in this particular area that stem back from the apartheid area. So he's here to listen to some of those issues and find lasting solutions, and obviously to mend that gap between cultural practices and law enforcement. So at 4 p.m. he will be meeting with farmers in another area just outside of Vryheid, where we will be as well to also listen in on what these these farmers have to say to the police minister in his engagement here today in Vryheid.
Nobuhle, is there a clearly defined objective for these gatherings, or is the minister just showing up, showing face to appease farmers to say, well, look, I did come, I did listen to you? Does he have a plan or at least a target that he is aiming for in terms of these engagements and what the outcomes should be?
Yes, Tab, I mean, that question is something that I also posed to him in terms of this being a talk shop or him really wanting to take into cognizance a lot of the issues that, are being ventilated here today. And he making reference to the fact that the crime stats for this particular quarter are going to come out soon. And that will be his yardstick to measure what kind of intervention is needed, particularly to deal with crime in rural areas, which is something, that has been prevalent for a long while. And him being here, he says that he wants to build confidence within communities to know that these issues are being dealt with decisively at national level.
Appreciate your time, Nobuhle Modise, and your intervention live for us. There is Nobuhle tracking that story with the Minister of Police following, of course, engagements with community members, farmers in particular, on the question of rural safety, something that has been, of course, in the news and top of the agenda, even on international stages, in some instances with false information, seeking to bring clarity to some of those issues.